But there was this one time when we were tracking on this street, and my companion, he was a senior companion. He liked to bug me a little bit sometimes. So there was a lot of vegetation in California, and so people oftentimes around their front door they had plants and flowers and things. And there was this one plant that had these little kind of like almost beads on them, and they were kind of hard, like a little rock. And he was picking him off, and he was trying to bounce it off the door and hit me in the head, right? So he's like, pa-tink, poosh, pa-tink, poosh. And he's like, oh, I almost got him. And I'm just like, oh, right? Because every door this was happening. And so he's like, pa-tink, poosh. And so it was making kind of a loud, like, tunk on the door. Tunk, you know what I mean? And it's like, yeah, it's kind of loud, you know? All of a sudden we hear this thud, thud, thud. Somebody comes bearing down, throws open the door, right? And who do they see? Not my companion. They say me. And they look right at me and they say, are you throwing rocks at my door? And I'm like, no. And she looks at my companion, looks at me, slams the door. And I look at my companion, I'm like, great, good job, you know? Nice one. So we kind of go down, we go to the next house, nobody's home. We go down to the next house, and a lady comes to the door, and as soon as she opens the door, she says, were you guys throwing rocks at my neighbor's house? And we're like, no. Well, what are you talking about? We weren't throwing rocks at your neighbor's house. And she's like, oh. Well, come on in. I've got the Jehovah's Witnesses in here. And we're like, what? This is getting stranger by the minute. So we walk in, and as we turn around the corner, the Jehovah's Witnesses, I mean, they were in mid-discussion. They're teaching their discussion to this lady. And we walk in, and their face just drops, like, what's going on? So we walk in, we see them, and we're like, and they see us, and they're like, And the lady walks in, and she says, well, I've heard a lot about both of your churches, but I would love to hear you guys just explain it at the same time. So go ahead. What? So we kind of sit down, and we're like, you can go ahead with your lesson, you know? Well, about 3 minutes into them continuing their lesson, you know, feeling awkward, looking over their shoulder, the phone rings. So she gets up and she walks away. So we're just sitting there with the Jehovah's Witnesses. Hey, how are you doing? And they're like, so are you guys really throwing rocks at somebody's door? And we're like, no, we weren't throwing rocks. No. And they're like, yeah, we have crazy things happen to us too when we're tracting. And we ended up getting into this 10-minute conversation about tracting stories. And they started telling us crazy stories that they had. And we started sharing stories with them. And it was the weirdest conversation, but it was the funnest conversation ever. And anyways, the lady comes in and she's like, guys, something came up. I'm going to have to go. So I'm going to kick you all out. And we're like, oh, okay. We just kind of walk out. The J-Dubs go this way. We go this way. You know, we go around to the next house.